Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Straight Talk Vermont show. I'm Bruce Wilson, director, and I'm just here today with a great guy, Wilmer Chavarria, and Winooski School Superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time actually getting to sit down and talk with him. And Winooski schools are incredible right now. You get built up so much. It's a brand new place. So, Wilmer, let's talk about, let's go over your bio. And, first of all, how did you get to be a superintendent of schools in Winooski?
Oh, wow, okay. I've been a school administrator, public school administrator for, what could I say, 6 years, 7 years maybe, an educator for over 10 years. And all of my experience has been in public schools. In New Mexico first, and then here in Vermont. Before being a superintendent, I was the Director of Equity and Education Support Systems in Milton, up a little bit north, for a couple of years there. Before that, I was a school principal down south in Vermont and a school principal at a very beautiful pre-K 6 school in New Mexico. I enjoyed my time as an administrator a lot while I did it, and so being a superintendent is a natural progression after that. And but here in Vermont, I think Winooski specifically was the right match for me. Mm-hmm. And so far, this is the second year now, and I still believe that, and I'm really excited as I was the first day. So.
Wow, so this is wow. I feel like it's longer than 2 years now. So
yeah,
it's on
it
your
feels
second.
longer.
Well, I feel longer, so I'm glad that you're the superintendent of schools now. I was on kind of like a committee to discuss how, what a superintendent of school for Winooski could be or look like or feel like, or, working with youth and the school committee. And so I was, happy to learn that they chose you. I'm very happy because, first of all, you're a person of color like me. Number one, and Winooski, people don't know are like it's very diversified. And ethnicities are incredible. They're from all around the world. I think it's like 23 different languages. Mm-hmm. Those students need somebody who who looks like them, and not knocking nobody else, candidate or whoever, but they need a person who looks like you, and who will be able to understand some of their what they might be going through, and even their family, their parents might be able to feel more comfortable talking to you. I learned that, talking to you about whatever their issues might be, and you working with John, the principal of the schools, and he's an incredible guy as well. I worked with him with years through the schools, through a Winooski school. Now, a superintendent of schools in Winooski. So what? How many? So you got what you have the high school. Tell me who you.
Yeah. So one of the things that makes my job a little different from the traditional superintendent is also that the schools are a little different. They're not very much like a traditional school district. Winooski is so small that we are able to have all of our schools in the same complex of facilities. So all of the schools from our pre-K early learning programs all the way through high school, they're all not quite in the same building, but almost in the same building. So it's the same campus. My offices are within those same facilities. That means that if I want to visit schools, I don't have to get in my car and drive there.
Wow, I didn't know that your office is there.
Yeah. So I just get up from my chair and walk over to the high school and see what's going on, or over to the pre-K and see the exciting things the kids are doing. And so I have the luxury of being able to see things firsthand a lot more than I would otherwise, and to be of support to people. People can just walk into my office and have a conversation with me. And that is a very efficient way of doing business. Actually, in the state we're talking a lot about efficiency and how to do things faster and better. And I think we've been lucky to have that set up, because then we don't need emails back and forth and misunderstandings or anything. We can just walk to each other and have a conversation. Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, so the schools, the Winooski schools are a really exciting place, mainly because it's like a hub for the community. Parents see each other when they walk in there, and you could see, you could go visit your high school students or your pre-K students, and everything in between. And so it's an exciting place.
Yeah. So now, wow, man, because I've been, I lived in Vermont since 1989, and I've been in Winooski for, I don't know, many years. 20 years. So I've been a part of your school. My daughter graduated from your school.
All right.
Jasmine graduated from your school,
Yeah.
and went on to college, and so I've been a part of working with the school, doing youth events and all kinds of cool things for many years. Now, one thing that I haven't done, and it's not about me here, but is the when you say preschool, the little kids, I really never done nothing with them. I really never. Middle school and high school is the age group that I worked with. So what do those little bitty kids do? What's their genre? What they?
Yeah, these are 3 and 4 year olds, and anybody who's ever raised a child, they will tell you, a year is a lot of time for a little child who's just been in the world for 3 years, right? And so the way the brain is changing, the way the child is changing is incredible. And we have so many resources in place in our schools. We have professionals that their expertise is based on understanding that brain, that the earlier we catch some of these kids to support the families in optimizing the conditions for the child to be ready for the rest of their lives and to develop properly throughout life. That is what the pre-K program, the preschool program does. So in simplistic terms, we could say the pre-K program is preparing the child to go into the school systems, to be ready for kinder, for example. And that means anything from, if somebody is not potty trained yet, to being in community, because some children are alone at home and don't interact much with a community of other children much, or learning how to use their hand to paint something on, or learning their first few numbers that their brain ever received, because maybe their families don't have the resources, time, or knowledge to support them through that. So all children come into our programs at different levels of abilities and also levels of support at home. And what we do is sort of like bring them all to the top, bring them to those skills that they will need in the rest of their schooling.
For life, for their life.
But also as human beings.
And then get into the next steps to them, which is, I guess, middle school maybe, elementary school, right? So now, the elementary school is John F. Kennedy. Is that now the little kids are in that building too, right? John F. Kennedy, you call it building or facility? That's the preschool and elementary school?
Yeah, although the preschool now it's so large that it's its own program, so it's not administered by the JFK Elementary School itself. So we have two separate. We have a principal for the JFK Elementary School, and we have an early childhood director of early childhood services. Gotcha. Yeah, so we have two separate people there because the pre-K is such a specific type of program.
Specific, it really is.
In fact, the oversight not only comes from the the Agency of Education, it also comes from the Agency of Health, and so that we are under the requirements and expectations of two different agencies from the state government.
Sure.
And so that requires a very specific set of knowledge and expertise and setup and you name it. So
I get it.
Some schools incorporate that into their elementary schools. We keep it separate because we're trying to get it right. We're trying to expand our pre-K programming, but also do it properly and focus our efforts.
Now, the pre-K, do they stay all day in school? I mean, when I was I'm going back when I was a little kid. Like, we have like you go like half a day or whatever. You go. So I don't know. They stay all day long.
There's different models. There's a half-day models. There's a full-day model and all of that. This year, Winooski is able to offer more full-day options. We were not able to do that last year. Now, since we expanded with the support of Winooski community, we created 2 new classrooms. We used to have 2, now we have 4. And we're able to provide full-day pre-K to a lot more families. And hopefully, if we continue on this trajectory, we'll be able to offer it to even more families. We're doing that in response to changing state rules and state expectations, state law, that is moving in that direction, in which public schools are encouraged, if not required, in the near future to provide pre-K services to as many families as possible. So we're getting one step ahead, so that we're not forced to create something that we're not prepared to. Instead, we're trying to get it ahead of time. So
yeah, makes sense. So the cool kids, like the middle school kids, they're the cool kids, you know. And so, I know. So basically, I know they're trying to get to 7th, 8th grade and get to high school, you know, to do their thing. But exactly, do they? So you have a basketball team for them, and you have a soccer team, and this little sport, and you have like a 4-H club program for those kids.
A what?
4-H, you know, like you have what type of programs are that middle school kids can look forward to?
Yeah, so where to even begin? You would be amazed at this. So we're a very small school district, but you'd be amazed at the amount of offerings that we have for our middle schoolers and high schoolers. We have a thriving music program that starts in the elementary schools, goes all the way to high school. We have band, we have choir, chorus, we have all kinds of digital production, you name it. So in addition to actual classes, we also have after-school activities, lots of offerings in after-school. We also have clubs that we incorporate within the school day. You could do anything, you know, from anything that you're passionate about.
Right.
So the set of offerings at the middle school and at the high school are pretty impressive for our size. And shout out to all of our sports teams, which are very, very good, despite our size.
They're very good.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're able to offer those opportunities for them.
Me too.
In addition to a high-quality core curriculum, from math to reading to science. I think it's a pretty well-rounded set of offerings for our students.
Now, so we haven't even talked about the expansion of your school. I don't know how many square foot it is, but we'll talk in a minute. So you got a theatrical, your new auditorium is incredible. It's like so new and big. And so what are you doing there? What are you doing at theater?
Well, that theater is really busy. We could walk in there right now after this program, and something's going to be happening in there. So anything from what the high school calls, I think, community meetings, where students put on a show, and it's like by them and for them and their teachers. Those serve like community check-ins, and to actual performances or special events. Last week, I could name at least 3. One of the most exciting was the 5th graders had this amazing end-of-unit presentations where they performed monologues based on a book they had been reading about immigration.
Cool, yeah.
It was extremely inspiring. And then you can have a concert that our music students put on, or you could have a theater play that also last week, I think 2 weeks ago, we had this amazing rendition of Macbeth. And so it's busy throughout the day, and it's especially busy after the school day, because then we have special performances, organizations coming in and using them, community events. We could have any cultural events that the community is putting together that is not actually sponsored by the school, but we use our schools to offer it to the community.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're very good at that as well. I know you are. I came in there one day. I was doing something. We was there. We had what were we doing? Anti-racism committee. I'm on that advisory, and we was walking in. They was having like a party in there. They had the lights going and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I don't know if it was high school or middle school. I don't know, some type of big event they were celebrating.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to see, because you really don't, you get to my age, you don't get to see like school parties no more, like really like with flat, like strobe lights and, good,
We still have those. We still have them.
I know.
The middle schoolers love those.
I know. It was cool to see, It was cool to see, It was very good to see.
I will say the investment that the community has made in the schools and continues to make, because we're paying for that building for the next 30 years. So we better get the value out of it. And I will say the investment is paying off. I will say the experience that our students are having in schools, the ability for us to offer them a 21st century high quality education, it is happening.
Yeah.
And an example is the space that you just mentioned, the Performing Arts Center. We are taking advantage of that. We're squeezing the value out of that Performing Arts Center, and I think that almost anybody and everybody in the community, if you've been there and you've been at an event there, you'll see how valuable that is and what a difference it's making.
Yeah, so I've been there, I mean, this was some while ago, 'cause I was working with some students there and they had this technology room, and they got all these computers, and they be working on all cool stuff, and I don't know what that room is, but those I think they're more like high school kids, but man, are they smart in that room. It's like right near it was near the library at that particular time. I don't know if they moved it, but so how many? So I'm gonna ask now, how many square feet? What's the new addition to that building? Because it's gigantic.
Don't quote me on the actual number, but it is. I would say. I would take a guess. I had these statistics. I could have brought them with me. No, but I could say I would not be exaggerating if I said that it doubled in size.
It did.
In terms of
I bet so too.
And it's because at the time when the planning was going on years ago, we had a projected increase in enrollment over the years. But things change. Things happen. The world changes.
COVID and all these things happen.
Yeah, things happen, and the presidency changes. The world events change. So many things change, and so the NESDEC, which is the entity in New England that we use to give us those projections, basically changed the projections years later to say actually your enrollment is going to start to decline.
Right.
Now this year, they sent us new projections and they said, never mind, they're not going to decline that much. They're still going to decline, but just a little bit, and so on. So this year, we've actually seen an increase in enrollment, which is not something they were projecting. So I'm very curious to see what next year's projections are. But the truth is, the building has more capacity than we are using right now. That doesn't mean that we spend any less because we have to maintain that. We have to keep that building in good shape. But we are in exciting conversations with our own neighbors and partners and community and how we take advantage of this building and how we manage it in the most efficient way to serve as many students as possible and to serve the community.
Yeah, well, you're going to fill it right up, you know. So another thing too is that years ago, one of the situations was as Winooski changed, you know, more people of color started coming living there. It wasn't really no interpreters. But as I walk into your building, and I'm in this for that and others. Talking to Mohammed, you have a whole room of interpreters, man. I mean, and they just be on the phone interpreting stuff, you know, languages, probably the 23 languages that they have there. Wow, how important is that? That is so important to have interpreters, and they help. Do they help just in Winooski or all over the state? I don't know what they do.
They are for Winooski. They get most of their funding comes from our local education funds, and so I will say they are a highlight of what we do in Winooski because there's so much more than what a person would think, right? Interpreting or just translating documents or speech. There's so much more. They're true liaisons. So their title is multilingual liaisons because what they're doing is really connecting the community, the families, the children to everything, all the services that we provide in the schools. To the extent in which sometimes I wonder whether we need a similar model for all communities, all languages, because it started because some of our non-English speaking communities. Like it's the reality in most districts in the United States, multilingual communities or immigrant communities, refugee communities tend to engage less with the schools for many reasons. And language is one of them, but also cultural expectations is another thing. While in some countries you might think you want to leave the school alone because they know what they're doing, in other countries might think, no, you're supposed to be in the schools all the time and asking the teacher what they need.
Right.
But it depends on where you're coming from or what the cultural practices were where you came from. And so we realized, we've seen that the multilingual liaison model makes a huge difference. The schools truly are a welcoming space to all of our families, all of our communities. In fact, the rate of participation in school events or in school involvement sometimes is higher among multilingual communities than in our English-speaking families.
Really?
Yeah. So that has been an interesting phenomenon to see, and it's good. It only raises the bar higher and higher, and that's good for the schools.
So I noticed that like you have like a food distribution. How that work? I see families, I see parents and youth and all the time. So when I'm there, so how that works?
As a community hub model that I was talking about earlier today, that includes providing services beyond just teaching you math and reading, right? It also means ensuring that children are not hungry at home, or that you have a hat and a winter coat. Because we cannot pretend that everybody's fine and therefore you should be expected to learn math today, when maybe you don't even have transportation, food, clothing, dental services, just a health checkup and all that. So we give students all that, of that.
Yes.
And so if a student, we have a store, which we call a store, is the necessity store, where you go get anything you need from clothing to food, but you don't pay a penny. Right. So it's a store, but you don't need money to go in there. Nice. And we keep it constantly. We keep bringing new things. Because there's a lot of need, and that's fine. You would be amazed at what a difference that makes. And we have specific store hours, store days, where every week people can come. Not only students, families can come too and request. Do you want plantains? Do you want tuna? Do you want some beans? Do you want like some boots, some shoes that you might not have?
That's so important.
Yeah.
Because, I've been in Vermont since 1989, and a lot of times, especially youth and some youth in Burlington, some youth in Winooski, you see them underdressed, they're not wearing the proper shoes or coats or scarves or whatever. And now, I don't see those kids like that coming from high school or coming from your school, They like all dressed all warm and stuff, and they're getting what they need, man.
Yeah.
So
if you're not properly dressed for the weather outside, it's because you're just a teenager and you're being irresponsible.
Right.
But not because you didn't have a coat, because we have them in school. You can just go and take one.
Just get a coat.
And so we have, sometimes we get on the students, they're young people. They're developing their brain, and they might not know they're cold until they're dying. But we just have to insist on them to dress properly, and they can't tell us they don't have a coat.
Right. And
that's
eat
not
properly.
An excuse.
You guys give them nutritional meals, not just you might get a piece of candy, but you're getting real nutritional meals. What is a nutritional meal there? Do you know? I'm asking you questions that maybe you know that answer, but I know you got nutritionists that actually supply give out the food and everything. So what's the nutritional meal?
Yeah, funny that you ask. We took a gamble with this question in Winooski, because we decided to seriously involve students in that very question. When you ask teenagers or children what food they want, you can imagine what they're going to say. Right. Probably at least half of the options they're going to provide are really not healthy options. And that's okay. But they have to be at the conversation. Because there's a lot of healthy food out there that students will not eat, not because it's unhealthy, but just because it doesn't taste good to them. And there is a lot of healthy food that if you cook it properly, if you do it properly, it's going to taste delicious. And we know that. I'm from Nicaragua. Most of the food that I eat is very healthy by all standards, and it's also very delicious. But if I don't know how to cook it properly, it's going to be gross.
Oh, it's going to be
And so we created this food committee, where students, families, anybody can join. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They meet I think they've had 3 meetings so far. We started it this year. And we actually bring the food service providers into the meeting, and we bring the director of operations and finances into the meeting. And the person that runs it is our district director of wellness and belonging. And all of the parties come together with students in the room to say, how are we doing? Is the food good?
Add a little bit more pepper on this one, right?
Yeah, the kids can be, pretty brutal in their honesty. And it's good also to have them at the table, because then we can also tell them, why can we not give you more chicken McNuggets and more hot Cheetos and stuff like that? Why can we not give you that?
Yeah, my favorites.
So the conversation is a healthy one.
Yeah.
Not everybody will be happy at the end of the day, but at least it reflects the voices of the community and a good compromise.
And then the good thing about it too is like I got youth advisory boards. A lot of places around the state, we create a youth on board for the city of Burlington, blah, blah, blah. And so it's so important to get youth, and especially if you've got youth on the agenda item or just youth, you working with youth, to hear what they say. You and me just cannot. They say, well, I want to do this, that, and other. And so, I'm having a dance, and my job is to get the building, get security, get the insurance, and listen to our youth advisory board based on what their mission goals and objectives are to do. That's my job, you know what I'm saying? It's not just to try to make a decision for them. They need to be a part of everything that we do. Because, quite frankly, like you had said, this is what we're doing. This is for them, for the youth, It's not for us, we're just enjoying it and trying to get better. How can we get better?
Yeah.
How can we get better for the youth that we serve or people that we serve? Now the families, I see a lot of parents coming in and out of your school, Winooski High School. What is it? Is it Winooski? Yeah, I'm throwing out because I got so many.
Winooski schools.
Winooski school
all
system.
Of that.
Winooski school system. So what do they do? Why are they in and out of there?
For so many reasons. A lot of parents, especially the people who have younger children, love to come in the schools and bring the child all the way to the door of the classroom.
No, that's awesome.
And that's beautiful to see. It creates a wonderful sense of community and such. But also we have parents coming in for all sorts of reasons, whether it's meetings, you might be coming into the store, the necessity store, and come get some plantains. You might be coming for an actual physical therapy for your child or something, because we also offer physical therapy in the school.
Really?
And we also offer dental services where we get a dentist coming every once in a while and checking our kids. We have we also have events happening all the time.
I know.
Winooski teachers and staff are really good at putting together things that involve the community, that give families and the community reasons to come in. You can come up with almost any excuse to attract the parents.
Get into the school.
Yeah.
Man, so that's so good, man. And you guys have been doing that for years, man. You've been, now, you guys have been doing a lot more. I'm sure you had, the superintendent, you had a lot to do with it. And but it's in a brand new school. Who don't want to go into a brand new school, and go in and enjoy all the things that you have to offer there, man. Especially plays, all the plays and food and clothing and things that can help them with their stuff too, with their goals too. Because I know it'd be a lot of educational things there. It'd be, I guess, Feeding American or maybe that. I don't know if they're there, but
there's Veggie Bango. Veggie Bango is a beautiful program. Yeah.
So they'll come there and pick up food and take it home, and so there you go. They get educated. They so they're not starving. And then they come there. They get food. They get clothing. Warm clothing, cool clothing, depending on what time of the year it is. And it's not just for the kids, because the parents can come get stuff for themselves too. Yeah. Man, and like economically, in Winooski, we're economically challenged in a lot of areas. We don't have a lot of money like some parts of the state.
Yes.
Where families are living in a different, we live in a different demographics, and our economics and the work that we do don't match the money that we should be making. And Winooski, to provide all of those services for people. I live in Winooski, Winooski is my town. Winooski, me and the mayor and Elaine be laughing. But it's so incredible that you guys do, and I'm so happy that you're superintendent of the school. So you want to add anything before we cut out of here?
I will. I could not. I have to take advantage of any opportunity I get to speak to the public in these times, because Winooski is able to do a lot of wonderful things, not only through our tax capacity, which our voters are wonderful about supporting our schools, but the money that we raise, the funds that we raise through our tax dollars here in Winooski are not enough to be able to run the programs that we run. So that's why it helps to have an education fund at the end of the day that is statewide, and that the burden and privilege of educating our children is shared among all Vermonters. So it's not a system that Winooski raises its taxes and then that's the money that goes to Winooski. Instead, we send our money over to the state fund, then it gets mixed with everybody else's funds, and then we redistribute depending on where the need is. That is the only way a city like Winooski is able to offer a quality education to the students, given the costs that are associated with educating students in Vermont. Everybody's heard of health insurance skyrocketing, those prices, and I could list all the costs that are just going up and up and up every year. But now the conversation about how we fund schools is front of mind for a lot of people right now. And there are proposals out there, some of them that have garnered a lot more attention than others. The proposal that's being advanced right now, we have to be very careful about not rushing into something that seems like a great fix. And if it's too good to be true, it probably is
too good to be true.
It's too good to be true. And we have to make sure that while this is very important, rushing to decisions that are not thoughtfully created can lead us into an even worse place than we were before. So I am interested in speaking for the quality of education across the state and the students across the state and the families across the state, but I would be remiss to say that Winooski definitely will have to be voicing some of our concerns, because the current proposals would obliterate the funds that Winooski receives. They would force us to cancel a lot of the great things that I just told you about. Sure. It would leave us bare bones and only able to offer to students the things that the state already requires of us by law. Yeah. There are a lot of things that we do that we're not required by law to do. We do them because they're the right thing to do for the children. But if some of these proposals were to be materialized in the way that they are, much of that would have to go away. And for anybody who would like to hear more details about how I've come to that conclusion,
right here.
Yes, we're right here, and please contact me directly, and I'll be happy to provide my insight.
You got an email or a website that people can contact you?
Yeah, you can go into our website. You can Google Winooski School District, and right there you can email us at info@wsdvt.org, or you can just come into the building and ask for me, and we can talk. But basically, we want to talk to people about some of these proposals and how they could affect us. There are a lot of proposals out there about efficiency and consolidation and all of that. Most of that I'm not feeling so strongly against. I mean, some proposals include creating less districts and all of that, and probably me losing my job, that's fine. But at the end of the day, what I don't want, I could, it's fine if we have to have less districts. And I can tell you more about that. But what it's not fine is to underfund the schools, underfund the children, and use our taxes as an excuse for that. Because we could be lowering people's taxes and still funding the schools, even funding them more. That's right. If we were to do this very thoughtfully. Right. But right now we're playing the game of it's either this or that, and it's only bad options out there.
Wilmer Chavarria, the governor's coming on my show soon, and maybe I'll have you here with him. I'm also, just so you know, I'm the Human Rights Commissioner for the state of Vermont, so I'll see him, and I live in Winooski, so I'm definitely gonna be talking to him. So Wilmer Chavarria, Winooski School District Superintendent, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate you, man. We learned a lot today, so thank you everyone for tuning in to Straight Talk from our show. I'm Bruce Wilson.